Welcome to Intimacy Evolution with Brianna and Mark Carey, where they discuss desire, intimacy, and how to embrace the changes within your relationship. Brianna has been a sexual health educator for 14 years and is currently working as a relationship and intimacy coach. Mark is a licensed professional counselor and has been running his own private practice for 6 years. Together, they have 2 young kids and have dealt with the many ebbs and flows during their 15 years together. Intimacy evolves over time, and that's okay. Let's talk about it. Welcome to Intimacy Evolution. I am so excited for today's guest. She is one of my mentors from my certification program, Bryn Daylor. And Bryn helps women and couples remove their blocks to intimacy so they can have the best sex and love of their lives. So you're really going to want to listen up and hear what she has to share with us. So welcome, Bryn.
Hi, babe. So good to see you.
Oh my goodness. We already got our happy tears out of the way. So we're ready to dive in.
There'll probably be more if we're being honest.
Oh, yeah, probably. Welcome. Please introduce yourself and kind of share how you came to be where you are today.
Yeah. So gosh, I'm in an evolution right now. So the question who are you and what do you do is always so I don't know. And of course I do know, but as we were talking about before the show, change is the only constant. And as a woman, especially a cyclical woman who has a 28-day cycle where there's ups, downs. I mean, any woman can tell you that that is true. I'm really in quite an experience of growth and shedding my skin right now. And what I love about that is that as I grow and evolve and up level, the woman that I serve does. And the way that that tracks with who I am as a coach is I found this work at a time where I was in a deep state of evolution and letting go. I was 30 years old, about to be 30, and was in a just complete contemplation of my life, my marriage, my reality. I was really deeply dissatisfied with the quality of life that I had and the quality of relationship that I had. Mm. And I had this just deep state of dissatisfaction. And yet I was basing it off of what society told me I was supposed to have to be happy: a business, a partner, a marriage, a home. I had all of those things, but I was really just not living my life for me. I was living my life for my partner. And that created a lot of resentment and challenge. And so when I first found this work being that sex, love, intimacy, it was because I deeply needed it. I deeply, deeply needed it myself. And I went on a journey of first self-exploration of who am I as a sexual being and who am I in relationship and what does healthy love look and feel like? Mm. And the deeper I went along that journey, the more I realized that the relationship I had wasn't working. And what I desired was something very different than what I had created for myself. And so I took full responsibility and I hired a coach and I went down this journey of, exploring. And that turned into, oh my God, I think this is my purpose on this planet, is to help women rise in love and to really know themselves as sexual and really know themselves as intimate beings, way beyond sex, way beyond just pleasure at the surface. But deeper than that is who are you as a lover? Who are you as a wife? Who are you as a seductress? What are the many flavors that live inside of you? Because I had so many that were repressed. And I unleashed myself. And now I have a living where I help women do the same. And I just happen to be in another evolution right now of who I serve. Hence the cryptic beginning and start of my message. But I have no doubt that it's pushing me towards just another version of myself so I can serve at a deeper level.
I love that so much. And it actually touches base on our previous episode that we talked about, releasing old identities.
Oh, yeah.
and it's something that, I don't think is talked about. We're starting to bring more awareness to. And I love that you touched on a few things, like realizing that you are living a life that society says we're supposed to live. You're kind of, checking the boxes. Okay, got married, got the house, did this. And but is that what I actually want in life? And so the fact that you realized that and kind of dove in and took responsibility for that as well, instead of saying like, okay, I'm now single again, and now I need to go find the next partner.
Yeah.
You focused on you.
Yeah, I did. I was just going to say the word responsibility really resonates, because at the end of the day, that's all we have control over is how can I show up and take responsibility for my part. And it sounds sexy potentially on the surface, like, ooh, being a woman that takes responsibility. But what is really required to take full responsibility of your life, it is confronting. I mean, it's confronting on a soul level. And so it has been a journey, and I'm still experiencing waves of what does it mean to be the full creator of my life, my relationships, my sexuality, my finances. And it means at the end of the day, there's no one else to blame for my life other than me. Or in a more empowering way, there's no one else to like release control to. Like I get to be the powerful creator. And it's either the most suffocating feeling at times or the most empowering. It just depends on how you choose to look at it.
Yeah. And yeah, that makes me think of something I heard. When you are doing the work, it's sometimes more, it's challenging and hurtful in the moment, like almost hurts more than the actual things that you've been experiencing in your life when you're like dredging it up and then having to heal and work through that. But it's so worth it when you come out on the other end.
Oh my God. Yeah. It's lovely too, as a coach. And I know that you get this. We are perpetual students of our own work. Mm-hmm. So to take this path as an intimacy coach means I am constantly being forced to look at my own patterns. And what it does is it just shines a light on the shadow. Like, what are the parts of me that I'm afraid for people to see? I'm recently in a new relationship, and it's just humbling. It's humbling when I can serve all day and support women in deepening their love. And then here I am in my own relationship being served some of my shadows. So yeah. Never above doing the work myself.
No, not at all. And when you stop doing that work, then that's, again, kind of cycles back to that you get stagnant, and then you're in a life where you just kind of do what you think you're supposed to be doing. And with that, because I know you have a lot of really good stuff. And I was thinking about this, like younger generations or women that have kind of grown up in this, with this mindset shared to them, told to them, about like, this is what it looks like. Well, one, we know that we don't talk about sex, sexuality, education, anything anyways. So maybe what are a couple of tips while we're on this part for women to start kind of taking ownership of that aspect?
Yeah, I would say the first part of ownership comes from education, like actually educating yourself on the different parts of your anatomy, for example. So like, do you know the proper anatomical names for your genitals and the parts of you that receive pleasure, your A spot, your G spot, your cervix? Do you know the difference between vulva and vagina, or outer labia, inner labia? It sounds simple, but it's actually such an important part of the process is to educate, and not just on the anatomy, because that's a fairly straightforward process, but on what are the many facets and flavors of sex? Because society shows you one flavor, like penetration, orgasm, sex is complete. And the truth is that when you open that treasure chest, there is a plethora of flavors. And I think it's a really actually great time to be doing this work, because society is for sure opening every year.
Yeah.
By mainstream shows like on Netflix, like Sex, Love, and Goop are showing us the flavors of sexuality and turn on. And the resources, I mean, we live in an informational, obese society where you can get anything for free. I mean, anything. You find the right YouTube channel, the right podcast, the right book, and there's just no shortage of information. So I would say start with anatomy, start with the different flavors of sex, like the erotic blueprint. Start with understanding self-pleasure and understanding what it means to actually create a pleasure practice for yourself that is very different than, again, what society has told you of grab your vibrator, give yourself a clitoral orgasm, and you're done. Not to say there's anything wrong with that. I did it yesterday. And it's just, can you open your eyes and heart to a different way of relating to your sexuality? This is also where coaches come in, because if you're in overwhelm, that's typically what happens is, well, I don't even know where to start. I don't know where to turn. Turning to a coach that's done the work and has researched these things for you. When you hire a coach, essentially what you're doing is you are paying somebody that has learned and synthesized on your behalf so that you can streamline the information. So unless you're just like a learner and you love to just like absorb information, hiring a coach is the best life hack, because you cut out all of the wasted time and confusion and they just take you straight to the source. And that's what I did. I was like, I don't want to go around digging for all of this on my own. I want someone who knows their content and can really provide this to me in a streamlined way.
Yes, I love that. I love
that. So step number 1, educate yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so good. So you have some yummy stuff that you want to share today. And
I forgot what I said I want to share. So now I'm like, what did I say?
I'll let you know. And then you can kind of pick what you want. So you said that you want to share about rising in love, fucking with an open heart, grieving past versions of yourself in new beginnings.
Oh, let's start with the grief. That feels true today. Yeah, that feels really true today. So I know you just said you had an episode on identity shift, so I won't go deep into that, but the truth is that when you are stepping into a new version of yourself, that could be in love, it could be in sex, it could be, I remember even like my wedding, I remember being so confused as to why I was so sad after. Nobody talks about that.
Nope.
I imagine the same thing with motherhood. Like, I've never had a baby, but I know my girlfriends that have gone through deep layers of grief when entering motherhood and feeling very confused about why they feel sad. And I just bumped up against this in finding my partner. Like I remember we had just started to date and it became really clear, like in my soul, I'm like, oh, this is a man that I'm going to build with. Like, I don't know what the future holds, but there's something really special here. And I'm excited to build with him and to step into love and to rise together. And I remember in that same breath thinking, oh, but that means this chapter's over. The single girl who got to explore her sexuality with such freedom, didn't have to consider anyone, didn't have to take responsibility for another person's just like presence in my life, not their feelings and emotions. That's codependency, but to really just like know that there's someone else I get to consider. And I remember for about a week or so feeling really sad. There's a part of me that could have looked at that and said, well, it's not the right person. You make meaning of the feeling. But what I really came to terms with was that, oh, I'm just grieving the end of a beautiful chapter of self-exploration and singleness and who I got to become in those 3 years, and knowing that that version of me is going to die. And in order to make space for the next new evolved version of myself. And so, yeah, nobody talks about grieving being single, but I for sure did. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes total sense. And I love that you shared that because awareness of how you were feeling in that state allowed you to support yourself more fully instead of creating a narrative, like you said, that, oh, this isn't the right person. Because how many opportunities do we kind of miss out on when we create a story out of not being aware of our emotions?
Absolutely. That's why I always help women with not actually needing to know why. Like when you're crying or when you're experiencing tightness in your chest or yes, there is wisdom in those sensations and they will present themselves to you if you slow down enough and listen, but it's not something to search for or to dig up and to try to make meaning of. It's the trusting that the lesson will present itself when it's ready, and the wisdom will present itself when it's ready. And just like the sadness, I realized like, oh, it just came in like a knowing, like, I'm sad. I'm sad to leave this part of me behind. And you know what I also grieved, which is so interesting because I logically knew this, but there's a difference between logic and embodiment, as you know. I grieved that the beginning of love, healthy love, and this is a whole tangent we can go down, felt different than the love that I was used to. So, what I mean by that is I only knew love that felt like cannonballs, like diving fully in a wild roller coaster of like longing and tension and ups and downs and instability. And are we in this together? I don't know. It's just what I knew. It's what I knew love was. I knew love is unstable, lacking emotional availability. And I realized when healthy love was presented to me, it was calm, it was peaceful. I could cry now. It was so steady. It felt like a warm candle, like just like this soft illuminating of like, oh, it's safe over here. You can step this way. Yeah.
It's really beautiful.
Thank you. Whereas the past version of love I knew was like a spotlight that was like blaring in my face and was like a disco ball, just like party, shiny, like distracting. And at first my nervous system wanted to judge it and wanted to push it away, deem it as boring, deem it as like, oh, this person couldn't possibly give me everything that I need. But it was really my little girl going, this is new, and new feels different. And also, I'd never had stable, consistent love from a man where I didn't feel like I had to prove myself or be more beautiful, be more popular, be more successful. And then here was this man that was just loving and patient and kind and available. And everything inside of me went like, oh, okay, interesting. This is what this feels like. And I had to grieve the fairy tale of like that it was going to be this sweeping me off my feet, rescue, everything will be better and shinier. It was like, no, actually, it's just this other really amazing person standing side by side next to me and rising together, these two individual pillars that are stronger together, but individually really special too, versus the part of me that really wanted to be rescued. I had to really grieve that this was going to feel different. So I had a lot of grief in the beginning of our relationship.
Yeah. And thank you so much for sharing that, because I think that a lot of people just don't understand that. And because they're always in the vibration state of attracting the same type of partner, relationship style, what they, grew up seeing. And so circling back to what we talked about, being aware, doing the work and knowing what you want and being fulfilled in and of yourself and not seeking outside validation and fulfillment from others.
It's hard. It really is hard. Like I have so much empathy. I am a conscious, evolved, developed woman who does the work, and I still struggled with that. And so I share that to just like take me or anyone off of a pedestal and share like this was a 33-year-long process that I am still unraveling. And so I've had a lot of compassion for myself and for just humans in general. Being a human is hard, man. And being a human in love, oh my gosh, it presents a whole other series of challenges. And yeah, I think I want it to be so clear that the work is never done. And that's why resting and playing and integrating is also so important, because it's easy for me to just zoom in on, well, what are the parts of myself that need to be looked at and fixed? And the truth is they'll show themselves when they're ready. They always do. Yeah. And for me, it was just really learning that this new healthy love is going to feel very different in my body than any kind that I'd ever experienced before.
I love that.
Thank you.
I'm just so happy for you.
Thank you. I'm happy for me too. He's really special and he really creates beautiful space for me to have my process. And the truth was too that in the past, when I was dating men that were emotionally unavailable, it always created these projects for me of like, well, if I show up differently, maybe he'll be more available. Or if I like open my heart more, maybe it'll crack him open. Or if I practice more polarity or embodiment, it'll give him space to do this thing. And the truth is that only works when the other person is willing and available. And I kept picking men that weren't willing or available. And so the reality was I had to take responsibility for the fact that I was the common denominator in all of this. And that's a hard lesson and a hard reality of when you realize I'm the constant in relationship. These men are not doing anything to me. I am choosing these men subconsciously at times. But the cycles continued to get faster. And that's where I knew the growth was. It wasn't about completely breaking a pattern once the awareness comes in. It was about noticing that when I get in pattern, can I see it come back to myself faster and close the loop faster versus expecting that I would be perfect or find something perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. So it kind of leads into rising in love.
Yeah. So there's so much to be said here. And I imagine you've got a lot of this as well because of your beautiful relationship. And you've been together for how long now?
15 years. I know. So it's wild.
Yeah. So no one can speak to this probably better than you can. It's new for me. It really is. It's new for me. And I think where I'd want to start is that the society we live in now, everything is so available to us. Dating, men, sex, dating apps, Tinder, Hinge. Like I could swipe at my fingertips and find a plethora of men that I could have sex with, that I could enter relationships with. And what that's created for society is this understanding or idea that there's always something better. There's always something that could be better or different, and that I could exit this and choose something different at any moment. And if you're constantly measuring your relationship against, well, could I have something better? That's a really challenging belief and way of like being in relationship, because it essentially means that you have one foot in and one foot out, which is how I lived my life for a long time, is like not really understanding the safety and security that comes from choosing something fully. Because choosing something fully in the past to me meant being trapped. Like I equated choosing to like, oh, now I'm stuck. When in reality, choosing something fully has actually allowed me to soften and to really feel safe to explore and safe to rise. Because as you remember, and as I know and have had familiarity with, is the beginning of a relationship is so not reality. It's just not. Yeah. And you're still learning each other. You're trying each other on. All parts of you typically haven't shown up yet just because of time. Like you haven't gotten to see and experience enough life to really see this person. Yeah. And I remember speaking with one of my mentors and her saying, it's really like the year and a half mark that you get to see somebody fully and experience like all facets of their being. And so rising in love is once that initial phase of like attraction and falling in love is complete, then the rising is choosing someone day in and day out, like waking up and saying like, I choose you. I choose this relationship. And there are parts of you that I'm sure will drive me crazy. And there are problems and challenges and conflicts that will be difficult, if not insolvable at times. And can I choose the relationship? Can I choose this person who I know is one that I desire to commit to and desire to build something with? Because life is so much more pleasurable and enjoyable and loving with you in it. And that means making investments in the relationship. It means having to take a hard look at yourself over and over and over again. It means being witness to the many, many ego deaths and identity shifts of yourself and your partner, and being with them through all of it. And it's not for the faint of heart. And I think that's why many people struggle in relationship and our divorce rate is so high. Not necessarily because it's so multifaceted and there's not one answer for this, but for starters, I would say it's because people don't actually understand what it means to commit and rise together. It's an art. It's something that you must learn. And there's tools that you must acquire, from conflict navigation to polarity work and how to create attraction that will shift and fade over time. It's understanding your own needs and desires and being able to communicate them when things aren't going well, or when they are going well, and being able to praise and love your partner for that. It's so complex.
Yeah.
And so for anyone, that wants to rise in love, like, it's a spiritual journey. It really is, just like entrepreneurship is.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm sure there's even more that you could add to that too, like what that looks like for you.
Yeah. Well, I love, oh my gosh, you just shared so much. I feel like a lot of people, they experience it, but maybe they're not aware of it, or they're not sure how to navigate it. But when you're in a long-term relationship, things are going to change. People change. And so I hear that a lot, and they're like, well, they're not who I married. Well, no, because you change. And you're going to change at different rates too. You're going to grow, expand, or, heaven forbid, there's like an illness and one person has to support the other more, and, different, or somebody loses a job, and there's a lot that goes into it. And because it's just not talked about, people don't know how to handle it. And so then it causes tension, and then it leads to the divorce. They're like, well, this isn't what I signed up for. It's like, well,
yeah,
but it is, you in vows, if you do, typical vows through, sickness, death, rich or poor, all the things, right? You did say that. And just learning how to navigate those, and giving yourself grace, and knowing that, like, I don't understand this now, but again, you can research, we can talk through it, and creating that foundation of communication. And you're so much more eloquent in your explanations, but
not at all. You've got the lived experience, and I'm really starting to figure this out myself, and it's humbling, and it's at times exhausting. And there are still times where I keep saying my little girl, and I'm referring to inner child, because I don't have children, but where I notice, like, little Bryn wanting to, the second something is off, go, something is off, protect yourself, push him away. And it's, for what I'm realizing is that part of me may never fully go away. So it's not about, there's a lot of this like phrase in the coaching community of like healing yourself, and like, what does that actually mean? What does it mean to heal yourself? And it creates this constantly moving goalpost that you're like, well, when will I be healed? When will I not have these patterns? When will I see life differently? And the truth is you will evolve and you will grow, but it's not so much about like getting rid of a part of you. It's about meeting it with acceptance. And that's what healthy love has really helped me see, is that there are parts of me that want to push him away at times. There are parts of me that judge him and criticize, and it's because I'm afraid. And it's like, can I just realize that in the moment and love myself through that part without, this is where the growth is, without trying to explode the relationship, implode, do the old pattern of like getting out, and versus realizing that I'm actually safe to be here, safe to experience this, and that there's just a part of me that needs love and attention, and that I don't need to leave the relationship.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm going to take it a little bit different direction, because you brought up some things about, well, you talked about your inner child and how that can have a play in the relationship. And I've been experiencing this more recently. I actually had a Reiki session last week where we talked about, because I was like, I feel like I'm always trying to like get to the next level up, get to a higher version of myself. And it's kind of exhausting. like, when am I going to be there? When is this complete? And she reflected back to me that like, it's an ongoing cycle. It is a flow of, and for me personally, I'm inviting more play into my life, especially with my kids, because my younger version, my childhood, I noticed my kids' actions that trigger me the most were things that I was not allowed to do as a kid.
Oh,
I didn't feel safe in doing, or, a lot of times we tell young girls like, oh, you're so mature for your age. I heard that a lot. And what that means is I had to grow up really quickly.
Yeah.
So I didn't get to experience a lot of the childhood stuff that my kids are experiencing. And there's a part of me that maybe is a little hurt or bitter or angry that I didn't get to experience it. And so I'm doing that now.
Yeah.
I honor her still and make memories with my kids. Like I did face meeting with my daughter yesterday.
So
because
fun.
It was a Tuesday. Why not? Like,
right.
We went to the park and played, and I think inviting play into all aspects of life. And Mark and I were talking about this too. Like we just, as adults, we don't play as much, and no wonder we're all cranky and, low energy and exhausted, and like, go do something that just really lights you up. It doesn't matter what it is. If you think it's silly, quote unquote, or how people would perceive it, if it excites you and fills your cup, go do it.
Yes,
and I've really been leaning into that. So
that's why I adore my partner so much, is he's like embodied play and a man. I slept over at his house a couple of days ago, and he put on Chumbawamba radio and just like started blasting it, and he's dancing around in his underwear, and he like pulls me out of bed, and my like cranky self was like, ugh. And then within 2 minutes, I'm like, oh wait, this is actually really fun. And I think that's also such a beautiful part of like how we fall in love is it's playful. Like when you think back to when you first met Mark, and anytime you're in the beginning stages, I remember seeing this really cool TikTok that broke this down. She was a psychologist that was breaking down Disney movies and the characters as they were falling in love. And she used Nala and Simba, and it was this really sweet dance of play where it's platonic at first. He like pushes her into the stream, and like they're like licking each other and playing and like teasing each other. And then there's this moment of tension where all of a sudden it becomes like a bit more erotic, and you're like, wait, is there something else here?
Right.
But the common denominator is the play. And I think, you hit the nail on the head that inviting more play in your life is so valuable to your own sex, love, relationships. I mean, sex in itself is playful. There's opportunities for it to be creation and play. That's why they're called sex toys, right? And so, finding ways to make life playful, creative, and it's guaranteed to create more expansion in your relationship.
Yes. Oh, that's so good. Where else would you like to go?
Ooh. I really like this concept of like just working with what is, like being with what is versus going down and digging for the sake of digging. Meaning like in your relationships or in your sex life or in your exploration of, your own sexuality, if you didn't go digging, like meaning like searching for answers, trying to pull up like what's here for me to work on, it will show you what your patterns are if you're paying attention. I remember reading this pattern from John Wineland, and he said something along the lines of where you collapse in the bedroom is where you collapse in life. And so if you look at nothing else other than when you're having sex with yourself, with a partner, where are the moments where you organically break down, collapse, get stuck, go to your head? If you just observe yourself, be the observer of yourself in relationship, this alone will make such drastic changes in your relationship. If you can pull yourself out of being in the moment and just observe, it's that like breath and the pause and the in-between. You don't have to go digging for it. You don't have to excavate your insides. You can just witness and be with what is. And when you are with what is, it is in those moments when you're present that you can really actually see yourself just as you are. Mm-hmm. And then that's where the shift can come. It's, oh, okay. For example, I'll try to use one with myself and my partner. Okay. So a couple of weeks ago, we were like having some foreplay and he wanted to introduce something new. And I didn't know that the new thing was coming. And as a little girl, so this goes back to, all of it goes back to childhood, interestingly enough. As a little girl, what created safety for me was this air of rigidity, like having control. That's all what we're doing when we want to control something, is we want to be safe. Mm-hmm. And so for me, being safe was being in full control. So I needed to know the rules, the structure, the way I could get things right and be good. That was my way of coping. Now, spontaneity typically has not been great for my nervous system because it pokes at that wound of like, it must be perfect. You must be perfect to receive love. Now, I didn't have to go looking for this pattern. It got poked at when he brought something new and I didn't have the chance to be prepared or like know what I was doing, especially being a sex coach. I should always know what I'm doing. Right.
Right.
And what I did in that moment was there was a collapse. So my collapse looked like, and I've used that word several times, it's different for every person. Mm-hmm. Some people's collapsing can be aggressive. Like they get fiery, their energy gets big. Mm-hmm. Some people's collapse could be their energy implodes inward. They fall in on themselves. Some people's collapses, they completely check out of their bodies. They go into the cosmos. Mm-hmm. Some people's collapses, they stuff everything down and they get super quiet. And I had enough awareness in that moment. It was challenging, but to notice like, oh, I'm collapsing. Like something is happening where I don't feel safe anymore. And so you have a choice in those collapses. One, you can continue to go into the collapse, which is a choice and it's a valid choice. Sometimes it's there to keep you safe. Or you can communicate, pause, and choose something new. Mm-hmm. And so for me, breaking the pattern in that moment was breathing and saying, can we stop for a moment? I'm having a hard time. Mm-hmm. And that was enough. That was enough to snap me out of the pattern, for us to slow down, breathe together, and to connect. Mm-hmm. And that's really what, when I started this tangent, is what I wanted to bring awareness to, is that having more compassion and love and acceptance for who you are, what your patterns are, can really create a lot of healing. And you don't have to constantly be in this, I must be better, I must grow, I must get to the next level, because it will happen organically if you bring loving awareness and compassion for all parts of you. And that's really what is available when you have a moment to pause and to see yourself. And sex, whether we like it or not, is an actually really interesting way to look at those patterns, because they will be amplified in those moments. And that pattern for me of rigidity and wanting things to be perfect, that doesn't just show up in sex, it shows up everywhere. But I was able to see it with more clarity in the bedroom. So if you want to know more about yourself and your patterns, start to look at, how do you show up sexually when something doesn't go right, and what happens to you? And is there a different way, a different evolution of yourself that you want to step into? And the next time it happens, can you just catch yourself faster in that moment so that you can bring on a new version of yourself?
That's really, really good. So if somebody listening to this is realizing like, yeah, there are things that continue to come up when my partner and I are having sex or doing certain things, if they already are like, yeah, how do I have that communication beforehand? Like maybe they're realizing now, like, okay, there's some things that I would like maybe to tweak or do a little differently. How can they communicate that even beforehand?
So I think number one is to spend some time like getting clear in what happened for you. Mm-hmm. It doesn't always have to be this way. Sometimes you can bring yourself messy to the relationship, and that's okay. But it is helpful for both parties when there's a level of clarity and awareness. Mm-hmm. So take a previous time that was crunchy for you and grab your journal and write out what happened. see if you can actually identify what was the moment of trigger for you. And then once you're writing that out of like, okay, so he introduced this new thing. And the second I didn't know what was about to happen, that's where my insides got tight. I clamped down. I stopped being able to be present. And so take a moment to journal and see, like, can you identify what the trigger was for you? And then ask yourself, what do you need instead of, or in place of, or when that happens? So can you create a new solution for when that happens? For me, it was as simple as when this happens, I can ask my partner to pause and to breathe with me. If I wanted to go a layer further than that, it would be, let's actually have conversations about new things you want to try up front so that my nervous system can regulate and understand. Yeah. And this is where bringing it to your partner and co-creating is really helpful, because you don't have to do this and figure this out on your own, but having a certain level of like, hey, I'm responsible because I took this pattern, I sat with it, and now I'm bringing it to you because I want your help. I want your help here. And so you can start by just journaling around like what came up for you, what was the trigger, and what did you need from your partner? Because if you can identify that, then you're going to create something new between the two of you.
Thank you for sharing that. That's beautiful.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
Is there any other tips, suggestions, or things on your heart that you want to share?
Simple, and maybe it seems silly, but really just having compassion for like everyone's doing the best they can with what they have. That's just the truth. No one, I mean, yeah, there's probably a very small percentage of the population that is out to actually harm people. But for the most part, like there's good intent. There's just human beings working with what they have, what they were raised with. And when you can see someone's humanness and really zoom out for a moment and just realize that they're doing the best they can with what they have, you're doing the best you can with what you have, it's what creates empathy and connection. And from that place, so much more is possible. And it's not to ever bypass toxic behavior. That's different. But it is to allow like a bit more humanness. Like that's really what I wish for everyone is, as I'm doing these couples coaching sessions, usually when I can bring them down to the level of, oh, like this is a person who I love and I care about, and the wall comes down and you see they're human and they see yours, the love and connection is palpable and it makes everything so much easier. So invitation to honor your own humanness and to see the others as well.
Oh, I love it. Thank you so much. I loved the flow of this conversation today.
Yeah. Me too.
Yeah. Do you want to tell everybody where they can find you?
You can find me most 99.9% of the time on Instagram at Bryn Daylor. And I love connecting with women. I love meeting new people. Anyone will tell you in my community, I'm super responsive. I have so many women in my life that I'm so grateful for, whether I've met you or not, because I take this work really seriously and I'm really honored when women choose to come into my space. And so, yeah, if you're listening to this and any part of what I shared resonated, then just come shoot me a message and we'll connect and I'll just say hi and we'll start some really cool friendship on Instagram.
Yeah, she's amazing. Go follow her. Yeah, just a beautiful, beautiful person. Thank you so much, Bryn, for joining me today for this amazing conversation. It was an absolute pleasure to have you on. Thank you.
I love you. My pleasure.
I love you. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and we will see you in the next episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the show. Make sure you hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. If you found this helpful, entertaining, or both, please take a quick minute to give a rating and review. That would mean the world to us, and it helps other beautiful humans to find our show. We'll see you next week.